speaking of surreal, there's one thing I have to ask you about, which is I believe you might be the last person on earth to work with Marlon Brando. And I just have to ask you about it.
Oh, it was wild. I'll go ahead and say it. It was buck wild.
Yeah, I'm glad you had the courage to go ahead with your thought.
Yeah.
But it was on like Scary Movie 2, and I remember at the time they hired him, they gave him a crazy amount of money to do a cameo and in this movie, and then I think they ended up not using him because he was too ill. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So it was Keenen Ivory Wayans, who's the director, who I love. And so when it came in, I was definitely like, yo, hard pass, because like I don't fuck with things called Scary Movie 2.
Right.
And like that's not what I'm in this for.
Mm-hmm.
And and I love Billy. I love Billy Friedkin. I love The Exorcist.
Which they parody in that one, yeah.
I actually met him and spent time with him towards the end of his life because he wanted me to be Mae West in a biopic that I think.
Of course, yeah.
But I think originally it was Bette Midler.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you name drop. So just like you have to take a pause and hit him with the last name.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just call her B, but whatever.
You do?
Yeah.
You don't call her the divine Miss M?
No, just B.
Yeah, well...
oh, wait, no, that's Barack Obama.
No, shit.
Shit.
How many B's do you have in your phone? Do you play the spelling bee
It's
and
also
connections?
Bryce Dallas Howard. What's that?
Oh, and you call her a lot just in that redhead club. But I'm not on the thread. I'm not in the group
You were on the
chat.
thread, but you won't answer.
Yeah. So anyway, it was... I was like, yeah, you don't want to fuck with fucking Linda Blair and fucking Billy Friedkin. That's nuts. And then they were like, and Marlon Brando is doing it. And your dear heart, Andy Richter.
Yeah, Andy was in it as well, yeah.
But really, Marlon was my way in. At the time, I was like, that's working with Brando, so...
Gotta do it.
You gotta be like, your mother sucks cocks in hell. You gotta. Like, you just... are you gonna do it better than she did? You're not. You're gonna ruin it, but it's Brando. And then he shows up, and he... he was very, very old. And
ill, I think. Yeah.
Yes, and an oxygen tank and earpieces, and I've told this story on your show live, but I guess it's to tape, but I'm not involved in the editing.
Yeah. That really didn't need to be qualified. But anyway, go ahead.
And if you're not familiar with Conan's work, so he, there was this talk show, and
I love how you get to the part where Brando shows up. Now, of course, Conan used to tape his show. Now he'd tape it at 5:30, but it wouldn't air till 12:30. So there was a lag in which time they could make short edit. You're getting to the best part of the story,
and now you're making it longer.
I know.
Get to Brando.
Sorry, we're all gonna die.
You want the full story? As he was like, because of the breathing and, the bed was sort of one of the gags was like a lowrider that would move all crazy, like Pimp My Ride style, which I think he'd never seen. I don't even know if it was out yet.
Yeah.
But, the space-time moves in all kinds of directions.
Yes, it does.
So anyway, he would keep his hand right on my tit, I think because I was in the prosthetics. Did not understand that like I was a real person at all. And because he was so busy with the oxygen tank and trying to hear the lines in the bed, kind of shaking and rattling.
You're giving him a lot of credit.
And it's despite what my mother said, it's a fucking nice rack. You know what I mean? So he knew what he was doing. And I was like, wow, this is like a fucking pretty serious day at the office. You know what I mean?
So you're standing there, and you're in all these prosthetics. Marlon Brando, who doesn't have long to live, has his hand on your breast.
For like hours, you know what I mean, at a time. And I'm like, that's fucking Brando. I mean, is it fucking, big boy Brando, yeah, you know, can he breathe? Not really, but, you know, is he all there? I mean, nope. Is it the sort of acting face-off I dreamed of? Well, it's no On the Waterfront, but...
if you look at On the Waterfront, he's got his hand
on Carl Malden's breast.
Carl Malden's breast. They tried to cut around it.
No, they do. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess I am a fucking contender after all, and so on. So I was thrilled and delighted. I thought it was fucking pretty special. Then when he dropped out of the film the next day due to his health, and I think he died 3 weeks later.
Yeah, he died very shortly afterwards. Yeah.
I maybe am I don't want to make it about me, but I'm maybe the last person that he felt up. I don't want to assume that he was it's not a big deal. It's just sort of pretty much Brando and I banged it out hardcore, you know what I mean? And 3 weeks later he died, and that was the last time that he could fucking manage it. And then the next day they brought in James Woods.
Mm-hmm.
This
is how every story ends. And then they brought in James Woods.
So
Godfather 4.
Yeah. And he was less of a charmer. In the makeup,
less of a charmer than the man on oxygen, whose hand is on your breast for 6 days.
Because he was I can tell even with the makeup, you're a spinner, right?
What?
My
No.
Yeah, and that was, I thought, less sexy than, Brando, who was just fucking oxygen, pumping and oxygen. It was crazy. No, that didn't happen. And, but yeah, the James Woods one was oh, that's weird. But I fucking think James Woods is a great actor, despite the fact that he's a Republican, psychopath, sort of, I don't know, was hitting on me as a teenager and full monster makeup.
Good Lord.
Pretty specifically, there's a crazy move, dude.
He has a type.
Yeah, I guess he does. And but my God, Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in America, and multiple truths hold.
You see all facets of the human condition, is what you're saying.
I'm just saying.
You see the high and the low.
That guy's a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the fuck Brando was up to, but it was nothing too kosher himself.
Now listen, he was
Maria Scheider,
just looking.
right?
He was just
Last Tango. Him and Bertolucci are fucking the shenanigans they're getting into.
You don't call that shenanigans.
Oh, you call it rape. I see. That poor chick fucking never recovered from that picture, did she? But it's a real buttery scene. So, and multiple truths, There
are multiple truths. There are many multiple truths.
And in a way, it's are they time crimes or what? Because I think that just raping and abusing women throughout history has been, for reasons that are very obscure and mercurial. Conceptually and morally, we're just sort of a fact of life. And I don't know. I'm just riffing, like Miles Davis might. Yeah.
I'm just, I don't know. That's for you because you brought up, I think 75 different incredibly heavy topics, but of course I don't have an answer for any of it other than that. I think what comes to mind is me thinking about you going through all this without functioning parents, being really young and figuring it out. And you've come out of it on the other side and you're a remarkably, I think, intelligent person who's also there's a complete lack of judgment. You're not judging people. You've been through a lot. I feel like you've been through 50 lifetimes of madness, but you are very even keeled, and you keep bringing up this concept that many things are true. That that someone can be a monster, but they can also be a brilliant artist, and then you see all this 3-4 dimensionality to it, which I think is pretty amazing that you can look at it all that way.
Yeah.
Because I think we live in a time where people just want to hear, was someone good or was someone bad?
Yeah, it's a bummer.
And it doesn't work that way.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yup.
But that said, I'd like to end on, I think I'm good. Very good. And I mean perfect.
That's not the takeaway from this.
I mean perfect.
No.
In every way. And there's no like layers.
Hard disagree.